welcome to Today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. There's always so much going on in the city. I'm excited to greet you this week. For those of you who watch every single week, and I know that's some of you at least, probably not most, I will be on vacation next week, and so I will not be here to tape on the 31st, but we'll come right back after that. So we have a lot to catch up on today, knowing that we'll go the extra week without a show. As always, we're going to start with Mayor Concan. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining me today. I'm still a little bit flying high after Kindness Day last week. It was a really, really busy day and a good day, and excited to see how many people participated with us.
Yeah, it was awesome. There were so many events across the city, and so many people jumped in. And the fact that it was the second annual, and I think it had grown exponentially in just the 1 year, was really impressive. And I was getting great feedback throughout the city that day and then the days that followed. So I think it's definitely something we should continue on an annual basis, and it'll only grow.
I think so too. We had this year, I had ordered stickers. Some of you may have seen these kind of around, and I had so many requests for stickers for folks that maybe hadn't gotten one day of. I actually did place an order for so all those folks who would like one. I've got a bunch that are coming in, and over the next couple weeks, I'll let people know that they're here and they can stop by and say hello and grab a sticker if they'd like.
Yep. Great.
Excellent. So I want to dive in. There's been a lot of speculation, as sometimes happens when we have really busy city council meetings and lots of engagement, which we always love to see. But been some questions about payment for the Central Square Fire Station auction.
Yep.
And I thought it'd be a good opportunity for us to take a moment and give you the chance to sort of just share with the community what's actually happening here and what the latest status is.
Sure. So the other night at the council meeting, there was a question raised regarding the status of the payment for the auctioned Station 3 fire station in Central Square. I can answer the public by letting them know that the payment has been made and the deed has been conveyed. That's the short answer. The long answer was I sent a letter just now to the city council giving them the background, the update. I relied heavily on City Solicitor Mark Salvati as he was the one that handled the auction for us. He compiled all that information into a document and shared it with the City Council, hopefully to address any concerns or dispel any misinformation. But yes, the fire station has been sold. We did receive the full value, the full winning bid amount, plus interest for a period of time that there was an extension. And in a nutshell, essentially what happened is the fire station was auctioned. There was a purchase and sale signed. And then during that process, City Solicitor Salvati discovered that he needed a little more time to fully research the title and to be able to convey it cleanly. So he, on behalf of the city, asked the winning bidder for an extension of time, which is pretty standard fare. The winning bidder did graciously agree. After that, when we were preparing for the extended closing date, the winning bidder asked the city if we would be so gracious as to extend the time for closing. We undertook a review to make sure that that was legal, standard practice, reasonable practice, all of that. Concluded it was, and we agreed to give them the time that they had given us. As of Thursday morning, the winning bidder was prepared to pay. That money came to us on Friday. It is in our account. Because there was questions or uncertainties or concerns, the city solicitor and we determined that it was probably in the best interest to get some other eyes on this. And we talked to the Attorney General's office, actually talked to the auctioneer who's handled this and dozens of other auctions to make sure that everything was done appropriately and correctly. And that was confirmed. And then we also took the step on Thursday. We reached out to the Inspector General, not the Attorney General, but the Inspector General, talked to the Inspector General himself, as well as his chief legal counsel and his legal expert on this matter. And it was confirmed by them that everything had been done properly, extensions were reasonable, and that we should proceed to closing. which we did. So the matter is resolved. The money is in the account. We did get interest for the amount of time that we had granted an extension. So the city is whole and the property has been conveyed.
Thank you for that update. I appreciate that very much.
Sure.
Another topic that's been sort of brewing a lot is, as we know at a federal level, there's a lot of changes to the Department of Education. No one really knows exactly what that's going to look like or what that means yet. We've certainly seen statements indicating special education funding won't be affected, but we don't know for sure. So people are asking, how much potential liability could there be in a worst case scenario within the Woburn school budget? What percentage of our budget for schools comes from federal dollars?
Yeah, so not an easy question to answer. And obviously, to your point, we are waiting to see what happens at the federal level, how that trickles down to the state level, how that impacts our Chapter 70 education funds and reimbursements that we get from the state. The long and short of it is the estimate I've heard, and I would defer more precisely, for a more precise answer to the school superintendent and the school committee, but a figure of approximately 10% or so could be traced back to federal funding. And again, no one knows for sure whether the funding is going to continue. Perhaps it comes through a different federal department and still makes its way to the state, and we still get it seamlessly from the state. We don't know that yet. Obviously, it's budget time. We're preparing those budgets. Sooner we can get that information, the better it is for everybody. I know that State Rep Hagerty and State Rep Sicolo, State Senator Friedman are all working to try to get clarity on all of this. I've talked to Rich particularly about this. I know as soon as they have answers, they will let us know. So we are proceeding as we would normally while waiting to hear if there is any specific direct impact to Woburn schools.
Great. Thank you for that update. We're going to be starting demolition of what will soon be the old Station 4 for the fire department. And we've talked a little bit about this, but as we get close to April, where some of that work will be beginning, we had a most recent building committee meeting was last week. Thought we'd give
Yep.
a little update about what people might expect to see as that progresses.
Yeah, so we're moving along. The committee is meeting and we're talking with our project manager and our design consultant. As folks may recall, there are permits required for things like this, so we've submitted that through the process. The city council has approved our request for a special permit to actually build the new fire station. We're thankful for that. Zoning Board of Appeals approved the variance required to situate the building on the lot. We appreciate that. So we are well underway. I think we're at the point now where next steps will be, at least for the public, to see the fence go up around the building in April, the beginning of demolition shortly thereafter. The last step of the puzzle would be, having the Station 4 crews and apparatus relocate. There's an option A and an option B. Option A would be have them work from headquarters in Central Square near the cinemas. Option B is another option that we're pursuing, which would be temporary space in Cummings Properties location on Henshaw Street. The city council has authorized me to enter into a lease with Cummings to temporarily house our crews there. But the last piece of the puzzle would be to get a special permit from the city council authorizing us to actually run a fire company out of that location. That matter will be heard on April 15th. We're hoping that that's pretty quick. And then at that point, we'd make the decision on the timing of actually tearing the building down, moving out and relocating to Henshaw Street, or perhaps, if necessary, for a short time to headquarters. So I guess the long and short of it is you'll start to see some activity over there on Central Street, and that's a really good thing because it's long overdue. The city needs that station rebuilt, and we're very grateful to the city council, the ZBA, and the residents, of course, and taxpayers for supporting this project, this much needed project.
Excellent, thank you. Although it doesn't really feel like spring after we had little bits of snow this morning, it is spring officially. And that means we're going to be start doing some cleanup around the city and street sweeping, for example, has begun
Yeah.
this week. But maybe not today because of the rain. I'm sure it's
No, no,
adjusted
not
things.
today. Yeah, so we'll begin that. That's one of the early signs of spring. The street sweepers get out. We try to post a schedule on the website so people can log in and see where they can expect the sweepers. Day and night, depending on where they're working. And the hope is to get to the major streets and do that initial cleanup. Then other things happen after that, as you can imagine. There's parks activities, there's DPW activities, but the street sweeping is usually it's kind of like the robins. It's one of the first signs of spring, and we're happy to see it kicking off. And hopefully, there's no more snow to plow until next year.
Let's hope. Let's hope. I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's really important. And speaking, I did a little bit of pre-spring cleaning at my house this weekend. I sort of bunkered down and cleaned out a closet and did a few other things. And it reminded me we actually have a number of sort of spring cleaning support services and events that are coming up that are scheduled over the next few weeks.
Yeah, and it's another sign of spring and more good news that things are progressing. There's the shredding event, as you mentioned, in April. All the stuff is on the website. We think that's a really good resource. It's usually very well attended. People store up those sensitive documents for a period of time. They don't want to put them in the trash, nor should they. So this is a convenient way to come down and have them shredded on site and protect your privacy and your protected confidential information. In addition, we have periodic recycling events. There's a couple of different crews that are working out there hard. There's the Madero's crew, recycling crew that does great work with appliances and computers. They'll have another event this spring. And then there's another crew it's a city crew, but I'll give a lot of credit to former councilor Dickie Gately back in the day, and President Jeff Dillon from the council, Lou DeMambro, Chuck Viola, Rob Turo, Anthony Langone always shows up to help. So that crew will be doing another battery and tire and bulb recycling event this spring. And then, of course, the last big thing that I know a lot of people look forward to is the community yard sale. More information on the website on that. People will sign up, join in. That's usually a fun day. You see people zigzagging across town with their treasures. It is true that one's junk is another's treasure. So that'll be happening as well. And we look forward to all those additional signs of spring here in Woburn.
Yeah, thank you so much. It is kind of a fun time of year when we get to sort of freshen up for the nicer weather and some additional
Yep,
different kinds of outdoor time. Thank you for joining
definitely.
me as always.
Thank you, Samantha, and have a great vacation.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to miss everybody, but I'm looking forward to vacation.
I bet you are. We'll miss you too.
Thank you. Siobhán, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you joining to talk about a really exciting thing that's coming up on March 30th. There are several groups that are coming together to host a trans vigil at the United Methodist Church, which is right on Main Street for those who might not have visited. And you'll be one of the speakers who's going to be there. And I was hoping you might share a little bit of what you hope folks might take away from the event.
Certainly. Mostly, I really want folks who attend to just understand that trans people are people, first and foremost, that we deserve the same human rights as all people, the right to live our lives without discrimination, the right to have documents that reflect who we are, the right to access medical care. Most of us just want to go about our daily lives unnoticed and unbothered, and it's hard when our identities have been politicized. And it's important to distinguish between political and politicized. Political topics are those which are decided by consensus and by vote, but human rights aren't one of those topics. And when politicians attack fundamental rights, those rights aren't political, they're politicized.
Well, we appreciate you joining and speaking. I know there'll be other things that are happening in the program as well. Let folks know what they might expect if they're able to join.
Yeah, of course. We have a mix of people speaking. There's faith leaders from Woburn, including Pastor Bill Hawk from Woburn United Methodist Church, as you said, who is generously hosting the event. Our lead speaker is Dr. A.C. Goldberg, an intersex and trans professor from Northeastern, who's an internationally known activist and speaker. And a few other amazing people are joining us as well, including Lisbeth de Selm and Billy B., both of Melrose, and a musician named Johanna Tulloch, and a student from WMHS as well.
Siobhán, that sounds like a really important event and an opportunity for us to all be there to support our trans friends and neighbors who live in Woburn and make sure they feel welcomed, as all residents should feel safe and welcomed in our community. I appreciate you sharing that information. For those folks who might want to support the community in addition to what's happening at the event itself and the vigil, tell us a little bit about how we can support our neighbors.
It is such a big topic, but I think the biggest number one thing that people can do is just treat us as any other person. Recognize that we deserve all the same rights that others do, that we deserve privacy around our medical care, our lives, our choices, and just stand up for us when those things are threatened or questioned. We'd love to have a lot more public support for trans folks here in Woburn, and it mostly just consists of standing up and being present when we need.
Thank you. That sounds like something we can do for each other. We always stand up for each other here when we want everyone to feel safe and welcomed in our community. So I know this is being hosted at a church. It is not a church service. Just thought it might be a good opportunity to talk a little bit about who is invited to participate in this event.
Well, at this event, we're inviting absolutely everyone to come. We hope for a large turnout. We appreciate anybody who wants to come and listen to us speak and hear our speakers and just, see what's going on with it.
Excellent. Remind us, I did mention it was the 30th. Remind us what time this is happening.
It's happening at 4 p.m. At 523 Main Street at the Woburn United Methodist Church.
Siobhán, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to hearing how the presentations went when I come back from vacation and hope lots of people are able to show up and listen and learn and participate and support.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, welcome Councilor Viola and our planning team, Casey Haggerty. Glad to have you both here.
Hi, Samantha. Samantha, thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. We have an exciting event that's coming up on April 12th. I spent some of my weekend preparing some of the invitations. It was getting goosebumps a little bit thinking about how we'll be celebrating this. I thought it might be a good chance to first just remind people what we will be honoring during this time. I don't know, Chuck, if you want to share a little bit about what the dedication ceremony is all about.
So as Samantha said, we're going to have a dedication ceremony April 12th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the former Taki school site, which is actually where the historic Battle Road is that the men took to march to Lexington and Concord. And so what we basically did is we cleaned up the path going in there where the Battle Road is, thanks to our in-house work through the DPW. We have a brand new monument that just was installed. We went unveiling that day, and it's pretty much it so far.
Yeah, it's going to be a lovely time. Casey, tell us a little bit about, in addition to the dedication ceremony, we'll be doing some other things while we're there. What can people expect?
In addition to the dedication of the memorial, it's also the 250th anniversaries of the battle in Lexington and Concord, which is Patriots Day. So we're having our own Patriots Day celebration at this memorial area that will include colonial music and colonial dancing. We'll have some patriotic music and family music as well. An opportunity to play historic colonial games like the children did in Woburn in 1775. The Lions Club will be there with their food truck, grilling up hamburgers and hot dogs for families.
Not exactly colonial times, but very yummy.
Yeah, it'll be yummy. We've got some, some interesting speakers. There'll be a chance to interact with reenactors. We'll have some, Minutemen there who can tell their stories of the day. There'll be opportunities to take a guided walking tour of the battle green with the Minuteman and learn what life was like back then.
That sounds really fun, Casey. I'm particularly excited for the Minutemen tours of the Battle Road. They'll be walking down, I think, portions of it, telling a little bit about the history.
Yep, that's the idea. We'll have them set, to leave in a certain increment that will be advertised, and it won't be the entire portion of the road, but you'll get to, hear firsthand what it was like for the men who marched that morning.
This is such a great way for history to come alive, for people to really experience it and experience it in a historic location in Woburn. I'm really glad we're doing this. Chuck, I know that we're expecting a nice sized group of people, so parking is always a question. They won't be able to really park along the street there, at least not very many people. Where can folks expect to park?
So on the property itself, we'll have limited parking for handicap accessible people. As long as you have your handicap placard, handicap plates, you should be able to park there. There's about, I'd say, close to either 8 or 10 handicap spots that are going to be on the lot. If not, there'll be parking on side streets around the area. But we also have set up a satellite lot at St. Barbara's Church, where we will be having a van that will be dropping and picking people up every 15 minutes, either from St. Barbara's to the Battle Road and vice versa.
Excellent. And you can do a little bit of a walk along Battle Road too, I suppose, if you really want to start the experience off and feel what the Minutemen did that day. That's an option as well from the parking. So we encourage people to use the satellite parking, obviously, just to make it easier for yourself and such.
Just to remind people, there's no parking allowed along Russell Street at all. So if you have to park on a side street there, you could use Silver Mine, Brook Road. You could use Steven Drive, Dix Road. You could go up that way, and it's just a little bit of a walk, maybe a quarter mile the most. So
great. Thank you for reminding us. Casey, tell us a little about the schedule for the day. When will all this fun be happening, and when should people plan to be there?
Sure. So the event is scheduled from 11 to 2. The first pickup on the shuttle will be at 10:45 a.m. from St. Barbara's. That will get you to the Battle Road area with enough time to get ready. The dedication ceremony will be from 11:30 to 12. That's when we'll have a lineup of both local and state officials, as well as some local historians kind of walking us through the event, as well as the honor guard. We'll have the national anthem with the city band. That will be the ceremony part from 11:30 to 12. And then 12 to 2 will transition more into the Patriots Day celebration. And the event will conclude at 2 p.m. with the last shuttle leaving at 2 p.m.
Fantastic. Thank you to you both and the entire committee. I know a lot of planning has gone into making this a special day. We look forward to seeing lots of people there. It's a big open space, so there's plenty of room for people to come and enjoy and learn a little bit more about our history and have some fun seeing it come to life. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you.
Woburn, as always, please continue to take good care of each other.